All right, hello. I pulled some cards. Sorry for like the unbalancing, but I'm just sitting on my bed and I pulled some cards here. Um, I saw a story happening locally in Florida. I think it started in the Peel Keys and it's spreading. Weird things happening with the fish in the water. Um, I forget what they call it, but basically fish um, are finding themselves on the shoreline and they're dying. They're acting erratically. They're swimming in circles. Newbie, what are you doing? Swimming in circles, and a local said this is so. Somebody on YouTube posted this. I also did watch some of the local news around it, but we all know that's gotta go to more than just one source to get your information. Um, and one of the locals there said that he noted that most of the activity is happening at night, which I found bizarre. So I pulled some cards because I was like, hey, I want some insight on this. So basically, what I got with these cards here is, as always, it's just like reality within the reality because that is the nature of our reality. Um, what's happening over there is right on the tip of the Bermuda Triangle, where Peel Keys is, and the areas that it's spreading to over in Florida is right on the one corner of the Bermuda Triangle, which most people know nowadays. The things that are happening there has to do with a magnetic or energetic anomaly within that area, having to do with like the Earth's energy field. I guess it's called an anomaly because there are theories as to the reason why it is that way there, but no one really necessarily knows for sure. There definitely are some theories out there and some theories that don't have any founding in like research or fact, just like speculation. But so just based off of that, the cards that came up are literally talking about the splitting of the timelines. It's a major split of people that are people, life forms, beings. It's not just people; it's the Earth too. That are moving into a higher frequency vibrational sequence, which is locating them in the new Earth because the energies are new. They're different than the ones that we've had here. Earth itself is traveling through the photon belt right now within the Milky Way galaxy. And the Milky Way galaxy is itself traveling through the cosmos. Um, so, all of that in combination with everything that's happening here, it's all lining up, it's all playing together. They're all cascades and fractals of one event playing out in multiple different ways, aka multiple realities. Some are observable and some aren't. So that was kind of like a little weird, not really weird tangent, but whatever. So basically, what I'm getting from these cards here. So first out, we have the Hierophant in reverse, and with that is the Wheel of Fortune. So these two cards coming out together right away, I'm hearing that people that, now remember, this was about the fish and the ocean and what's happening. So we'll backtrack to that, but basically, people that didn't go with the bullshit narratives that just didn't make any fucking sense, but they were tied to what society was telling you to do, and telling you what's socially acceptable and what's socially not acceptable. It didn't matter if it made any sense to you personally or scientifically. You had to follow the rules or else. So people that went that way are either dead or dying, or have absolutely no clue that their DNA is changed. They also don't have a clue that, depending on certain programs, we'll just call it that people may have agreed to participate in. We'll call it agreed to participate in. Some people were coerced to participate in. I'm not going to say the words, but there is shedding involved in a certain medical procedure that people agreed to, that is affecting people around them that they don't even know, and they don't know. If they're still fortunate enough to be able to have offspring, their offspring's DNA will also be altered. So this is like the early stages of shit going wrong, but it's not supposed to show up until like for a while, right? It's supposed to be a long process, and then when it does start happening and people start dying, it's just going to be like, oh, we don't know what's happening, we don't know why it's happening. Same thing with the fish. The fish are acting weird and doing things that they don't normally do, but when they opened up the fish and looked at like the insides of their body and like their organ functions and parasites or disease, they weren't able to find anything. And that also includes testing the water. They were able to find some type of algae or something that they're not even 100% sure what it means. It is a type of toxic algae. But what they found was that the algae, the amount of it is odd. But they can't really pinpoint this finding to anything that's happening. But that was something that they were able to find. When I pulled the cards, I was told that they're not going deep enough, which means it's in the DNA. They're not going deep enough. And the reason why it's showing up the way it is showing up in this area is because of the way that time functions in the Bermuda Triangle, which is a little screwy because of the energy anomalies, we'll just call it. Because time is not linear, and there are experiments that are done where somebody took some type of device that like measures time down to like, I don't know, like a nanosecond or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know what it's called. I forget the words. It was something that I watched. It's a study thing that I watched a while ago, like a year or so ago. But in any case, they took this device and took it to set up, synced it with another device, with the same device that also, it's not about measuring time, like it keeps time, but it's like keeps time down to like it's very precise. So they synced up these two devices, and they took one device and put it in a very high altitude environment, and then they kept the other device where it was. So like, yeah. And then after some time had passed where the two devices that started out synced up, but then spent time in different environments where different energy fields and altitudes and all those different things come into effect, oxygen levels, all these things, they found that the one that was on the mountain was now not in sync with the one that it was in sync with. And I don't remember if it was faster or slower. The point is that this idea of time being a standard is not true. Time can be altered, Just like gravity is not a standard because gravity can be altered, and it all has to do with energetic fields and vibratory fields. So, super long explanation, but the Bermuda Triangle got some weird energy stuff going on, and it affects time. So that's the reason why it's showing up in these animals like it is. And it's kind of sporadic because it's affecting a certain type of swordfish, which is on a critically endangered list. So that's part of the reason why I think the scientists even give a fuck, because if it wasn't for that, they probably would just be like, you know, it's a normal fuckery that goes on with pollution type vibes, I would assume. Okay, so bloop, 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 back to the cards. This is to further explain the Hierophant in reverse, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So again, those that didn't follow the rhetoric of the establishment and the bureaucracies and the dogma of the bullshit found themselves in fortunate situations where they flourished and are doing well. But doesn't that look like swimming creatures? Right? Doesn't that look like swimming creatures? I also got, when I looked at this, because I'm seeing both sides of the coin here, etheric legions. So the ones that did go with it and ended up screwing up their lives and potentially other people's lives, and maybe are no longer on this physical plane in this timeline with us, they are on the other side doing the work. And they've decided to do it from there because it's a greater advantage for them on an energetic level. And there's a thing called etheric legions. So please don't hold judgment for those that may have decided to do something different than you did, because their life path is their choice and it's their life, and you don't really know what they signed up to do, and you don't know the work that their soul needs in order for them to progress forward. So just because they're not here on the physical plane anymore doesn't mean they're not still here doing work. They're just doing it from a realm where it's a little harder for us to have access to them. So then next we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. And then to further explain that is the Six of Cups in the reverse. So with these two cards coming out, right, I feel like this is talking about self-love. I feel like this reading is just so loaded. There's so many things coming out. So, okay. So just going like these top cards, right in a row. This is like the negative path here. And this is like the quote-unquote positive path. And they're a reflection of each other, and they are energetically intertwined, and like magnets either attract or repel. And the energy is there with that purpose. So here we have not dark energy. Like, look at this Hierophant. Does that look like a religious leader you would trust? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. And he's also doing the pointing the hands up there as above, so below. That is some shit you normally see on the Devil card and not on the Hierophant card. But just to show you that that's how crooked this situation is. And with it being in the reverse, that's really not that's not a good situation. And then with the Ace of Cups coming up here beside it, the Ace of Cups, that is talking about self-love. And self-love is great, but if you're coming from a place of self-love is the only love that matters, here, the next card is the Four of Pentacles. This is somebody that's greedy, miserly, holding on to their money, not wanting to help others, only willing to help others unless it benefits them. Then we've got the Justice card in the reverse. No justice for the wrongdoings and crimes that are happening, for the corruption that's happening, especially in the courts. And then look at this. If that doesn't look like the thing that's being talked about, we'll just say BC, white thick BC, that's inside your body. What does that look like? What does that look like? Kind of looks like a vein, right? That is a side effect of what's happening with the programs that some people agreed to because of this corruption, this ulterior motive. It's coming out of the person's hand. This has to do with DNA corruption. And all I kept seeing when I was looking at this card was like the water, like the murky, icky water that they're showing in the Florida Keys. What the local guy that I listened to had talked about, he couldn't remember the exact time because it wasn't something that he like documented, but he was reaching back in his memory, and he said sometime last year, like around August and September, there was this brown, dark, thick, like couldn't even see through it, dense water that just showed up in the area, and it stayed there for like a couple months, maybe 3 months. And he said in his entire time living down there, which he's lived there all his life, he's never witnessed anything like that happening in the water. And it went away eventually, so people really didn't think anything of it. All I kept thinking about was that. Okay, so then let's scroll down here to this one. So here we have those that chose to go with their truth and wasn't doing it. Their truth took precedent over fitting in or doing what they were supposed to do because they decided they're a sovereign being and they're going to do their thing. They were fortunate. They're flourishing. They are moving forward and not suffering the way some others are. Then we have the Six of Cups in the reverse. So this is talking about future energy. This is not talking about dwelling on the past. So a lot of times when people make mistakes that they regret or do make decisions in the past they regret, they dwell on it and are thinking about the past and thinking about ways they could have done things differently. This isn't happening because this energy isn't an energy of regret. It's an energy of fortune. It's energy. It's an end. It's a 10. The Wheel of Fortune is the end of a major cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And the new cycle is future energy looking forward to the future. Not focusing on past energy, focusing on things that you can do going forward. Here we have the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles in the upright. This is reciprocity. This is those that, and this is coming directly under the Four of Pentacles, the miserly, greedy, egotistical type of energy around wealth and finances. And here, this is people that gave, even if they barely had anything to give. And it doesn't have to be money. They could have given their time. They could have given their old hand-me-downs. They could have volunteered, offered services at incredible discounts. Those people that were able to give in some way, shape, or form are now gaining, because that is what happens when you give for the purpose of giving and helping with no intention of getting it back, or like, I'm giving this to you so that you'll be in debt to me. Like, none of that. It's literally like, I'm giving this to you because you need it, and I have it, and I want to help you. They're winning. Here we have the Queen of Swords. This Queen of Swords comes under the Justice card. No justice in the courts, but there's going to be justice in the streets. And look at, does that not look like, I mean, that looks like blood. That looks like blood. It also looks like this thing that kind of looks like roots. It's like this thing that looks like this thing on the inside of our body that holds blood. These folks that think they're getting over, especially because they got the law on their side, or they're able to manipulate the courts and the system, whether they have financial pull or you know, can blackmail people with their status, or if they actually have something to hold over people's heads, like that whole energy, this energy not happening. Doesn't really matter what they do here, because it, like, this is what's combating it. Wow, look at what's on my freaking TV right now. This is just something that came out. This is like a screensaver thing. I don't even know what, it's like a YouTube screensaver thing. What the hell? Looks like blood floating around freely in dark water, aka the brown water that they put there. Somebody put something in the water there, and I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was a leak, or I'm hearing that it was an accident. It's not an accident what they were doing, but how it got out, and that was the accident. Or it wasn't necessarily an accident, it was like carelessness. And then this card here, we have the Knight of Wands. Look at that. It looks like a shaman with wings of fire doing a ritualistic dance, chanting, binaural beats, tuning into earth and nature and becoming one with nature. This card almost looks like trying to, instead of merging with nature naturally, trying to change nature into the idea of what humans think it should be. This is definitely talking about DNA manipulation also. So with this, like, combating here, it's just like this energy of like being untouchable. Like, this stuff up here can't reach these people that are here. And the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing in the Bermuda Triangle with the fish is because the time is different there. So, look, there's fish. There is now fish on my TV. Again, I don't even know what this is. This is like, YouTube was on and I paused it, and now it's doing some weird screensaver thing. I don't even... yes. Okay. Well, that is the reading. I'm using both of my hands to hold my phone, so where is my deck of cards? Oh, here it is. I'm just gonna I'm gonna spread these out on my, Cool. Final message. Oh, okay. We'll do this one since it went down there. And we'll do this one. What is this? The 7 of Cups in the reverse and the 10 of Cups in the reverse. Final messages. I don't know why I'm hearing this in my head, but I'll say it. I'm hearing this little line from Sister Act where the girl is like singing, if you want to be somebody and you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Okay. The 7 of Cups talks about taking a journey and hold up, that is not the 7 of Cups. That is a different card. Sorry. The 7 of Cups normally talks about having a bunch of options, but they're all kind of shit except for maybe one, and it's like an illusion. What's in the reverse? This 7 of Cups card is different though. They're traveling on water. It reminds me of like traveling in the underworld, the ferryman that takes you across the waters. Is that lotuses? I don't know. I'm getting like a real ancestor vibe energy on this card. And we got the 10 of Cups in the reverse. I think it's important to pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the signs, whether they be insignificant or not. If something stands out to you, it's standing out to you for a reason. I think a lot of the times when things stand out to us, but they don't stand out to other people, is because we just listen. Better wake up and pay attention. If you trust yourself and don't second guess yourself, and who cares if anybody agrees with you? It only matters what you think in this. When you're given these, there's communication being offered. So when I looked at those fish and I was like, I really want to know what's going on with that, because that's kind of disturbing. That's fucked up. That's like our ocean. That's important. It's a major part of our ecosystem, and a major portion of our food supply is that we depend on as human beings, the ocean. And it's very tied to our economy and our well-being. And I was like, I want to know about that. And I pulled cards on it, and it brought me back to this this energy of what's happening, the greater story of what's happening, which always comes out eventually in my readings, which is why I don't even do that many readings, because when I go to do readings, they pretty much all have the same underlying message most of the time, which is great change is upon us, and it's happening all around us, everywhere, but we have to pay attention to see it. We can't keep our heads buried in the sand. And it's easier now to pay attention because our choices are so limited. Like the 7 of Cups in the upright, talks about having a lot of choices, but are they really even choices worth having? Also talks about like the path that you want to, that you might want to travel on, but you're not sure which path to take. This is in the reverse. So like, there's no question what path you need to take, especially if you're paying attention. And the Ten of Cups in the reverse, this Ten of Cups in the reverse always throws me off. This looks like a volcano almost. You know, I just looked at that and just thought, if that were to actually happen, that poor fucking creature is gonna die up there. How's that creature gonna get down? It's either gonna jump to its death or it's gonna die. It's in the reverse. I think this is saying that it is the end of not having options, because you're gonna create your own options if you're paying attention, because the options are there for you. They're waiting to be discovered. They are constantly being presented to you. But if you don't take off your blinders and take advantage of opportunities, even if they seem really small, if it's anything that excites joy within you, take advantage of the opportunity. Doesn't really matter how it ends up. It only matters how you're feeling in the now when you're presented with an opportunity. Does it make you excited? Does it make you just like feeling like you're leaping out of your skin? Do you find yourself smiling and you don't even know why? Like, always turn to options of your highest joy, and you'll never run out of options. You'll never be in a situation where you feel like you need to do this. You might want to revert to that and feel like you need to hold on to your finances and be frugal and save and blah blah blah. But when you're constantly creating abundance by not living in lack, there's no such thing as lack, because you're creating the abundance. Like, when you say you don't have enough, then you won't have enough. But when you say, I don't have a lot, but I have enough and I have some to spare, that's what you have. And then that's what you get back, because that's the energy that you're creating. Like, you have to create the world that you want to live in. And you'll be this unstoppable force of passion and energy and love, that you're unstoppable, because nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you unless they're of the same energy, because otherwise they will be burned and blinded by your light. All right then. That is my reading, and I truly hope you got something out of it, and thank you so much for popping in and viewing my content. All right, bye-bye.